Okay, you know what? I've known you for about a year at this point, but you haven't really said who or what you are. I didn't even know how you got in here. So, what are you? Well, it is a little bit of a long story, but you know what? I might as well tell you. I'm technically a part of you. Wow, okay, that's a little weird. Yeah, it's weird. I can't really explain it, but let's just say we're both connected in a way that I can't explain. I mean, look, that is unexpected, but I'm kinda surprised here. Look, I wish I knew, but I don't. And there's probably not going to be a way for us to know for sure, but yeah, just something about us connected to each other. How the hell were you able to get in here? Well, it's actually a very simple story. While you were busy looking at that copy of Maniac Mole, I snuck on in while you were staring at that game. I was just waiting for you to stop staring at it. Took you a few years, but eventually you got around to stop staring at it. Right. Man, if only you knew what had changed. Your mind would be blown. Hey, if I'm you, I'd catch this. Robot Wars Arenas of Destruction? I mean, I thought it looked interesting enough. Well, that is a bit of an interesting pick. Robot Wars. I'm surprised how not many people talk about Robot Wars. Like, honestly, it's one of the greatest television programs ever created. It's a simple concept. You get a bunch of people, you have them build robots, and you have their robots fight to the death. It's simple. Of course, you got many things that make Robot Wars interesting. You got the corner patrol zones, which, let me tell ya, you do not want to mess with those house robots. You got freaking flamethrowers and saws and flippers and the pit. I mean, seriously, that crowd loves the pit. But seriously, I am glad that Robot Wars is just such a big thing. Although, not quite really internationally. As well, it had a few seasons in the United States. It wasn't really a thing here in Australia. No joke, I didn't even know about it until like 2018 when the show had a bit of an airing on 9 Now, when they had all the original seasons and such. Sure, that's when I first found out about Robot Wars airing on TV. But I first found out about the show from Mr. Dan Nerd Cubed and his videos talking about the show. Well, the toys in the video games. So, very much. I was a little bit more inexperienced, but when I first got to watch it, with that first episode of Extreme, oh, I was into it. I was into it immediately. Seeing all the robots beat the piss out of each other. Mwah. It is gorgeous. So I mentioned video games, and Yes, there have been some Robot Wars video games back in the day. There was Extreme Destruction on the original Xbox and PC, and there were a few Game Boy Advance titles. However, we ain't looking at them. We're looking at Arenas of Destruction for the PS2, and man, when I found this game, I was definitely intrigued because, well, it's Robot Wars, it's on the PS2, what could go wrong? And quite honestly, I don't think it went wrong at all. So, let's pop this bad boy in and let's see what this is all about. Developed by GameZ Lab, yeah, that's a bit of a stupid name, and co-published with the BBC, the game starts up with the iconic intro. Well, not the iconic intro, but an iconic intro nonetheless, and you're immediately greeted... Oh boy, what is that formatting? What the hell? Some people may think it's overscan, that kind of thing. I just think the developers didn't know how to format it properly for 4x3. Yeah, this looks rough. And I gotta say, I do like the look of the menus, even how rough it looks here. They're simple, they're clean, and they definitely feel gritty, which is kinda what you want for a game like this. And there are a lot of options, but I think we'll start with a free play battle and see how we go from there. Now admittedly, out of all the classic robots from Robot Wars, the one I'm excited to use in this is Razor. I mean, just look at it. It is one of the most gorgeous robots ever designed, and don't at me folks, Razor is the GOAT. Hang on a minute. You can't select him! Nope, you cannot select any of the iconic robots in this game. You cannot. Sure, you can battle AI equivalents of them, but you cannot play as those iconic robots. If you want to play this game, you're gonna have to play as a custom robot. A custom robot of your design. Yeah, that is rough. That is rough, folks. Like, when it comes to any game, don't have players be forced into the creation suite. Have it be an option. Give them the option to play as the iconic characters they want to play as. If I want to play as Razor, if someone wants to play as Chaos 2, let them play as those iconic characters. But you can't here. So what's the point? Maybe if I file out this registration card from the BBC, maybe they can give me an explanation. Then again, this is probably like decades old, so probably a bad idea. Okay, with that being said, let's see how generic robot number 57 does in this matchup. And as we can see the arena, hearing the smooth voice of the ring announcer, oh man, it just gets you hyped with seeing the whole arena. You can select through multiple different arenas, but right out of the box, you only get one, the TV studio, which, it's the most iconic arena. Makes sense why it's the first one you get. I mean, why would you want any other arena? You want to play in the classic arena. Alright, we immediately get in there and, oh boy, this is gonna be an interesting one, folks. The controls are actually pretty simple. It's a similar vein to like a radio-controlled car. Like, you can actually set it up so that it controls more like a radio-controlled car, but that's not how we roll. One stick, baby, and one D-pad. Of course, the buttons allow you to do so many different things. You can strike your opponents pretty quickly, and it is just perfection with how that all goes. Straight up, when it comes to Robot Wars, you do not want to mess with anybody in this game. It is just brutal, but it is just fun. I don't know what it is. It's really damn fun trying to destroy your opponents like this. We continue to get the hits in, the house robots are continuing to be interested, and oh, I won? Interesting. Yeah, so very much there are multiple ways to win in this game. You can flip your opponent upside down and consider them immobilized. You can attack the robot until they're immobilized. Or, and this is the fun one, you can put them in the pit and force them to stay there. Or you can do the boring old timeout and have the judge's decision. But where's the fun in that? But right, after that victory, I think it's time to get into the professional scene. So let's hop into Pro Mode, which is the game's single-player campaign, and let's do some damage. But not before we do some tweaking. Yeah, so when it comes to this game, the big thing you have to keep in mind is, well, since you can only play as your custom robot, there is a deep customization suite in this game. I have to admit, I'm actually really impressed with how far you can go with customization. I mean, there is a lot you can do, but I just went with some basic upgrades. Upgrading the armor, adding a chainsaw, and adding a gothic statue. But don't ask. But yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of these kind of games, where you have a big old customization suite. And I think it helps make this game a whole lot more interesting, being able to do all sorts of customization. I mean, you would probably be able to recreate some of the iconic robots yourself, like Chaos 2 and Razor and Panic Attack. So, very much, you might be able to recreate some of your favorites, but it'll probably take you ages to attempt it. So right, let's get into our first professional battle. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. We're in the Robot Wars Championship, and immediately we just keep going for it. When it comes to professional mode, it is a beast to play, especially considering the fact that it actually uses the same system as the TV show, where it starts off as a triple threat, then it goes to 8 one-on-ones, then 4, then 2, and then the final. It may seem a little bit complicated, but I think it works very well for this game. Now granted, does it accurately feel like you're in the battlefield? Not exactly, but it is very close, and makes you wonder why we don't get these games. I mean, seriously, Robot Wars is one of those IPs that could do for some great video games. But, realistically, this game and bloody Arena 3 are the only ones I can remember that really did robot battling in this kind of way. And yes, I know Arena 3 is a Flash game. I'm old. The combat system in this game is actually pretty good. I mean, for little fighting robots, you have to have the combat system be good, and this is actually a pretty good one. I mean, you've got so many different weapon options, from big swingy things to chainsaws to flywheels. There is so much you can do in this game, and with all the customization you can do, it is just perfect. Although I have to admit, those house robots are bastards. In the spirit of Robot Wars, there are 4 house robots you have to contend with. You have Matilda, who's very small, but packs a punch. You have Shunt, who no one really knows what Shunt does. Sergeant Bash, who has a freaking flamethrower. I don't know how, but a flamethrower nonetheless. And of course, the one featured on the cover, Sir Kill-A-Lot, who, seriously, if there's a contest for best robot, he'd win. Yeah, take that, Terminator. Sir Kill-A-Lot is better than you. But let me tell you, professional mode is brutal. You will fail as many times as possible. Even if you do the right customizations, you will fail a lot. I mean, I named my bot after the greatest TCW champion of all time. By the way, click the link below. You'll thank me later. If anything, I think the biggest problem is the lack of music, to be honest. I mean, very much a lack of music. You only have like 2 real songs in the whole game. And then again, it's all droned out with the voice of the ring announcer. Which, let me tell you, while he does say the same bloody things over and over and over, it's still charming. Of the era, this is definitely one of the only games that really nailed destruction right. I mean, we did have Flat Out back in the day, but come on, this game really nailed its destruction engine. Bits flying off everywhere, weapons going off of your robot, it is just perfect. And whoever came up with this destruction engine is a genius. A freaking genius. It's almost as perfect as a Mick Foley match. Wait a minute, he hosted Robot Wars 2? And thus, that's it for Arenas of Destruction, and oh boy, what a whopper of a game. I think when it comes to a game like this, since we haven't really seen this genre that much, we really don't take it for granted, but I think this is one of those games that is underrated, to be honest. I mean, look, it's not the best game out there, but it's fun. It's actually really fun, and sure, while there are definitely some things that I'll say are definite problems, I have to admit, this is a fun game, and I love the way it's done, the direction it took, and overall, it's a banger. Quite honestly, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, look, the lack of being able to play as the iconic characters, and the sound effects, and the fact that it's kind of messed up visually when it comes to the whole screen resolution and shit. Yeah, that definitely knocks down points. But overall, I think the game is brilliant. Seriously, if you can track down a copy of this game on eBay, go pick it up. It's one of those games that is definitely worth having a play, and it might actually get you into the franchise itself. And look, while there hasn't been a new season in years, good lord, you are gonna try and look for those seasons on YouTube once you finish playing this game. Because let me tell you, it is one of the greatest sports ever conceived, and good lord, I really hope whoever currently holds the rights brings in a new season, because good lord, this show is so good, and these games are so fun. Now, if only they made a new one. But right guys, thank you all so much for watching, and as I always like to say, I will see you all next time. Take it easy everyone, and I will see you all whenever that may be. Johnny!